You are one snooze button click away from slowly ruin your entire life without even realizing it. At exactly 9:15 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday morning in downtown Seattle, Caleb Vance opened his eyes to a blinding, terrible realization. His phone screen was lit up with 47 missed calls, and the time displayed in bold digital numbers felt like a physical punch to the chest. The biggest pitch of his career, a $2 million deal with venture capitalists who had flown in all the way from New York, had started 45 minutes ago without him. His hands trembled as he scrambled out of bed, knocking over an empty coffee mug that shattered against the hardwood floor. He didn't even have time to clean it up. Throwing on a crumpled suit jacket, his mind was a chaotic blur of panic, regret, and sheer disbelief. How did this happen again? Just 8 hours earlier, he had set 4 different alarms, swearing to himself that today would be the day he finally broke the cycle. The day he woke up at 5:30 a.m. like the successful professionals he idolized. But when the first chime echoed through his bedroom, his half-asleep brain made that familiar, fatal calculation. Just 10 more minutes. 10 minutes became 30. 30 became 2 hours. And now he was running down a rain-slicked Pine Street, his lungs burning in the 45-degree chill, praying for a miracle that wasn't coming. When he finally burst through the glass doors of the high-rise conference room, dripping wet and gasping for air, the room was empty. His boss was standing near the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at the foggy skyline with a look of quiet, absolute disappointment that hurt far worse than anger. Within an hour, Caleb's security badge was deactivated. His belongings were packed into a single cardboard box, and he was standing on the sidewalk watching his entire professional identity vanish into thin air. But the nightmare didn't stop there. When he walked into his apartment late that afternoon, the living room was unnaturally quiet. His girlfriend's closet was wide open, half empty, and on the kitchen counter lay a small set of keys next to a short note. She wasn't angry anymore, she was just exhausted from years of empty promises, broken commitments, and watching the man she loved drift through life in a perpetual state of groggy lethargy. Losing his high-paying tech job was bad, but standing in that silent, empty apartment, realizing that his inability to control his mornings had officially cost him the person he loved most, Caleb hit absolute rock bottom. Desperate to escape the crushing weight of his failure, Caleb packed a single duffel bag and drove 300 miles south to his childhood home in the misty mountain foothills of Oregon. He needed answers, or at least a place to hide from the wreckage of his life. His father, a retired carpenter who had built houses with his bare hands for 40 years, welcomed him without judgment, but there was a quiet intensity in the old man's eyes. The next morning, Caleb woke up to the smell of fresh coffee and the muffled sound of footsteps outside his window. It was 4:30 in the morning, pitch black, and 28 degrees outside. Caleb wrapped a heavy blanket around his shoulders and walked out onto the wooden porch, finding his 68-year-old father standing near the woodpile, splitting oak logs with steady, effortless rhythm despite his severe arthritis. Caleb asked him how he had managed to do this every single day for 4 decades without ever quitting or complaining. His father set down the axe, looked at the rising fog in the valley, and told him that a man who cannot control his first hour of the day will eventually lose control of every hour that follows. He explained that waking up early was never about willpower or brute force, because willpower is a limited resource that drains as soon as you get tired. It was about building a system that removes the choice entirely. Hearing those words transformed something deep inside Caleb's mind, moving him from toxic guilt to absolute clarity. He realized he didn't need more motivation, he needed a foolproof, science-backed framework to reprogram his morning habits. That very evening, Caleb designed what he called his 5-step automatic reaction system. First, he implemented the rule of distance, physically moving his alarm clock out of his bedroom and placing it across the hall in the bathroom, eliminating any chance of reaching out to hit the snooze button while still warm in bed. Second, he placed a giant 20-ounce glass of cold mountain spring water right next to the ringing alarm, forcing himself to drink the entire glass the second he turned off the sound to instantly rehydrate his brain, jumpstart his metabolism, and flush out the lingering grogginess caused by sleep inertia. Third, he immediately turned on the bright overhead vanity lights and splashed icy water over his face, sending a rapid sensory signal to his brain to shut down the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone. Fourth, he committed to the 2-minute physical movement rule, instantly dropping to the floor to complete 15 quick push-ups, which elevated his heart rate, pumped oxygen into his bloodstream, and generated a rush of natural endorphins that made going back to sleep physically impossible. Fifth and finally, he created a strict accountability pact with his father, agreeing to text him a simple photo of the kitchen clock showing 5:15 in the morning every single day without exception. For the first time in his life, Caleb was no longer negotiating with his sleepy mind. He had constructed an unyielding behavioral runway that made waking up early completely automatic. Day after day, as the morning sun painted the Oregon sky in brilliant shades of amber and gold, Caleb felt a profound shift occurring deep within his mind and body. The foggy mental clutter that had plagued his adult life cleared away, replaced by an unprecedented sense of sharp focus and quiet confidence. With 2 uninterrupted hours available every single morning before the rest of the world even began to stir, he began rebuilding his life step by step. He used this newfound morning time to read books on digital marketing, design a strategic business model, and launch a remote consulting agency right from his father's wooden kitchen table. Within 6 months, his agency was generating more revenue than his previous corporate salary, allowing him to hire a small team and work on his own terms. His physical transformation was just as remarkable. His skin cleared up, his energy levels remained consistent throughout the day without relying on endless cups of coffee, and he gained 15 pounds of lean muscle from his daily early morning workouts. But the true reward of his transformation came on a crisp autumn morning when he traveled back to Seattle to meet his former girlfriend at a quiet coffee shop overlooking Puget Sound. As he walked in, she immediately noticed the difference in his posture, the calm clarity in his eyes, and the steady reliability in his voice. He did not offer excuses for his past mistakes. Instead, he humbly apologized for his former unreliability and shared how mastering his mornings had allowed him to master his character. Slowly, over the following months, they rebuilt their relationship on a foundation of mutual respect and trust. looking back at the painful rock bottom he had hit on that rainy Tuesday. Caleb realized that waking up early was never about punishing himself or sacrificing comfort. It was about claiming the quiet magic of the early hours to invest in his own potential and build a life he was truly proud of. The 5-step system he developed was not just a trick to turn off an alarm clock. It was a daily victory over self-doubt, a commitment to personal growth, and a gateway to living with purpose and intention every single day.